was born a bodybuilder and I will die a bodybuilder. This is the #1 bodybuilding show in the world. It was really spectacular. We're gonna go up to $500,000 for the winner next year.
Welcome to Fit Club Vegas, the ultimate fitness destination for visitors. Drop in for a day pass and experience our 10,000 square foot fitness playground. At Fit Club, you'll find state-of-the-art equipment and a sound system so good you'll hit your headphones. Conveniently located 7 to 12 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, Fit Club is a perfect spot for you to come get your pump while visiting Sin City. So come check us out at 4525 West Hacienda, Las Vegas, Nevada. Fit Club Vegas, more than a gym, it's a vibe.
Hey, go. I'm back from the dead, bro.
Why do you feel like shit?
The weekend killed me. We were at Fit Expo this past weekend, and you know how that goes.
I didn't realize you were like, until last night, you're like, I'm really...
You know, it came on. It's crazy fast, but I had been kind of recovering because the week before I ended up sick. And, you know, it's so funny. I just told someone, they said, how do you avoid getting sick? I said, I don't get sick. I'm like Superman, you know?
Yeah. I don't want to speak too soon, but I haven't really been sick since 2007. Like, I'll get a little sniffles here or there, or cough or something, but nothing where I'm
my
like,
immune system's usually pretty tight. Yeah. Because we travel so much. I think coming out of the pandemic, it was a little effective because we weren't traveling around a lot of germs on the flights. But yeah, man, I was down for the count, you know, but remember, we trained every day. That's the one thing about, you know, I get a little crazy when I end up at these expos. It's like, you know, we're around the group and like we went and trained on a fasted stomach every morning, like actually weight trained, which I never really do. And actually felt amazing. And I had this whole plan. The funny thing is like 2 days ago, I actually told Guy, we were talking on the phone. I said, I'm going to train fasted this week just to kind of follow up with what we did on the weekend. And I've never been an advocate of training fasted. I've always said, you have to eat, an hour before training. But for some reason now, like I said, I'm not really trying to progress my physique as far as getting a lot fuller or bigger. I felt like, hey, you know what? My pump was really good. I think, you agreed with that. And, we were fighting that gym, thanks to Gold's Gym, because they did hook us up for allowing us to train downtown LA. It's one of Angel's gyms. But, man, what a crowd in there. We thought, like, our gyms, talk about crowded gyms. We get so spoiled in Vegas with the gym crowds.
We are, we went there the one morning at 8:30, something like that, maybe even earlier. I was thinking, It's Saturday, 8 in the morning. It's going to be dead in here. And that place was
It's amazing, though, on the Sunday we went, and it was a lot quieter, but it started to pick up, and it was like every machine I wanted to get on. You guys trained shoulders. I was doing legs or something. And, it's really good to train. It was really good to be around that. I mean, that's usually the Fit Expo carries a lot of weight as far as my expectations, because it sets the tone for the year in a sense. We always talked about this, and I got reminded. I saw John Balick there, who used to own Iron Man magazine and all that, and he was there present at the show. And if you remember, the Iron Man contest used to be held with that. It became the Flex Pro later. So they would start it in Pasadena. 2004 was the first year. So I thought for some reason it was 2003. But 2004, we had an expo there, and I was the first one booked, so I've been pretty much coming there since then. Remember for the 50th, they did the whole birthday cake presentation. Now Muscle Contest runs the contest there. They ran Saturday, Sunday this time, so the crowd was, I felt like, they had a pretty decent crowd for the natural show on Sunday, but more importantly, they started the new fit model division, which, Stanimal's girl Emily competed in. I think she finished second or
I was so
that was the kickoff of that. They said they had like 20 people, I think, registered in that immediately, which I think is great for the promoters. I mean, there's a lot of feedback on that, whether they think it's great or not great. I think people's all concern is like how long the Olympia is going to run with all the divisions. And
I think I read somewhere that it's going to be at the Olympia, but it's only going to be at the Expo.
Okay,
kind of like only for prejudging.
So it's not going to tie up the night shows either way for the prejudging.
Because in the beginning, wasn't a lot of the other divisions, didn't it? Like wellness was only at the prejudging, at the Expo for years. So is women's physique.
And I remember there was a
dating one.
complaint that people like, I want to compete on the big stage, and that's not inside the expo. And you've always said that the expo is a great place to get the crowds.
Listen, I know I don't get listened to, but why would you not want the athletes to be in front of 20, 30,000 people going crazy? Everybody would pay an extra $20 to get in there. I just don't know why they don't do more at the expo. Because think about it, you as a competitor, how would you feel to walk out and have 20 or 30,000 people just roar? Like just so pumped up and just all the cameras and people standing and trying. Like, I just think that would be a good look.
They do the classic like that.
They do all the divisions except the men's open.
Yeah.
But I just think it would be cool if they just tried that.
I think they don't want to go back on, they have set the kind of the standard to have to have the curtain show, right?
I understand.
So I think some people would look at it like your way, and then other people might look at it a different way.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
But the cool thing is to see so much more new talent coming in for these amateur shows. Every show that I throw, and I have the 4 a year, it just amazes me that, the new faces that come in. And these new faces, like we said, bodybuilding isn't as heavy as it used to be, depending on what show I'm at. East Coast seems to be more. And people come to the Vegas show. I mean, we have a lot of people that even fly over from foreign countries for that. But I think, the stage is still something, no matter what the influencer game is. We live in an influencer society, so social media. I still think there's a lot of these social people that still want to take the stage for the first time and push their bodies to try to see what their capabilities are. Because let's be real. I mean, if you look at Chris, who has like both social media and competitive side, he was the best at what he did. It just goes to show, I mean, it's, you can kind of handle both in a sense. We haven't really seen it in the men's open, being like a guy that's on top, that's like a cross between social media and competitive bodybuilding. I feel like competitive bodybuilding, because of the maturity levels and the density and everything else, it's really hard to focus on anything but the bodybuilding side of it. If that makes sense.
There's a couple guys like Regan and Blessing. They haven't won the title, but they kind of
Andrew Jack too.
Andrew
He was
Jack,
a social media guy.
They kind of they've kind of been good at both. Where Regan used to put out daily content and Blessing got known from his funny videos. So those are two guys but they've never achieved the success that Chris has.
And then we had Sam Sulek on the podcast. I mean, he's like he's a guy that like he's going on to the bodybuilding stage. And it's just coming up pretty soon, and he's kind of that hybrid athlete where, he's going to do, let's see how he does. I mean, we don't know how he's going to fare yet. He looks like he's in tremendous shape right now.
Yeah. I've chat with him here and there, and it just seems like he's kind of zoned in, and we'll see what happens. I know he's got to do, I think he's
got to qualify, I think, before he actually, if he's going to do, everyone seems to be thinking he's heading to the Arnold Classic.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense. It's in his backyard.
Yeah.
It's his backyard, so he would just have to do another show beforehand. But yeah, the Fit Expo is always, for me, it's always it does set the tone for the year. And it's the first time that everyone kind of just gets together and we just have fun. We go out to different dinners, we go train together.
We laugh.
Yeah, we laugh. We sit up on the balcony of the hotel and just sit out there and just laugh for hours and just have fun. And this year we got to have two guys join us that never have, in Keon and Martin Fitzwater. And it was just good to see those guys experience, because sometimes when you go to like expos, it's just about the work. It's just boom, 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 boom. And other times you go, yeah, we work, but we have fun and we get to go train together. And I saw they both went and trained at the Mecca together, and they got to get that video together. So the Fit Expo is kind of responsible for, helping build relationships.
And the
with
Trend
people.
Twins showed up there too.
Yeah.
And they've got a big following.
Huge following.
Young LA kids. I mean, we talk about social media. These guys got on the competitive stages last year, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they had a huge lineup there, and of course Breon was there, and
Breon.
we saw Matt
CT.
Chuck, CT Fletcher,
Sergio Libre
was there.
Jeff Logan.
Yeah.
Who else did I see? I know I'm missing some people. I saw Joey Swole as we were walking out. There was a good Mutant had Sean Clarita there.
Yeah.
So we saw a good amount of people for the first time. And it was kind of cool because Sean, like Clarita, showed me like, on his phone, like his check-ins. And I'm like, hey, man.
Pretty impressive.
Like,
people count him as a top 4 guy right now.
Listen, I just said, you're going to put the judges in a very uncomfortable spot because you are going to look as good as you can look. And how many guys are you going to leapfrog is going to be the question. But he looks really round and full and lean, and like his legs look back to where they were.
What do you think his mindset is? He goes and loses 212, tries to win it back. He fails at that, right? And now, I mean, is it just go for broke? And it's like, I'm just going to go and open shows and not focus on 212 only. I mean, he could have waited and done like the New York to 212 or something like that.
He could have just did the Olympia again. He's qualified.
Yeah, I understand that, but it seems like he just wants to get on stage and compete.
Hey,
And
listen.
like he wants to get up there with the big boys. I mean, he's had great results.
Yes, he has.
I mean,
He's won a show.
as an
He's won
open
an
guy.
show.
Yeah,
Hey, it seems to me like
and he's not a weight cap guy. That's why I'm asking you
No.
that.
it seems to me he was not happy with his last showing. It was not the physique that he thought he should present.
What was his faults?
He
Was he just over depleted?
Over depleted. His legs went down, and he
Yeah.
knows he can put on a better physique. So obviously he has a new coach, and it seems like everything's firing, everything's clicking the way he wants it. And I think he just wants to say, hey, man, I might not be 6 feet tall like the other guys, but damn it, I can stand with anyone.
I know, but do the
And he can.
coaches? Do the coaches matter, Matt?
Depends on the athlete.
Someone like him that's super driven and like,
I-
what do you
yes.
think? I mean,
I would say they matter in this facet. If you are the type that hires somebody and you just say, I'm in a box,
Cruise
I'm
control,
listening
yeah.
to them. If you don't come in right, they could potentially steer you in the wrong direction to where maybe in the beginning you may have been like that. But as you progress in your career, you can say, hey, man, something's off. So, yes, a coach can matter in that aspect, but it could be for the good or for the bad, because you might think, oh, man, I look shit, or I'm this. And your coach is like, no, just keep moving forward. And then, boom, you present the physique. Like, think of the 09 when you didn't realize how good you looked until the day of.
the thing is I think trying different things, you have to have an open mind to that.
Yeah.
When Hani took me as an Olympia champ, like people like, what is he really going to teach you? And I mean, I was trained under the best, Chris Aceto, since I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
I think it came to more of, someone breathing down my neck a little more of like, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah, there's different things, but I don't feel like bodybuilding in the last 30 years, like it's not like talk about like the National Academy of Sports Medicine certifications where you constantly have to renew your personal training certification. The question is, are coaches doing anything drastically different from 10 years ago to now? Is a difference?
I would say
I
probably
feel
not.
like I feel like the protocol's always kind of the same. It's like a, zigzag diet. I guess it comes down to people training their, how much volume they do. That's the biggest thing is I've seen coaches or trainers that have manipulated the training rather than the nutrition. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Like I feel like everyone's kind of like protein, carbohydrates, fats, kind of zigzagging that stuff around. Low carbs versus higher carbs. I mean, it seems like everyone kind of has that protocol, but the training is what dictates that fluctuation in a sense. And I feel like that's where people are manipulating the most to try to, okay, what guy is going to be responsive to, let's say, low volume, heavy weights versus, lighter weights, and I say moderate to heavy weights to higher volume, which I was always that advocate, but if I went back to doing hardcore heavy training, how long is your sustainability is the question.
I think a lot of the modern coaches, not the ones that come from back in the day, a lot of them heavily rely on the protocol, the drugs, than they do the training and the diet. I remember when I first started getting around the industry in the late 90s, when you would be around guys they would always talk about different training methods and food and this. The drugs were very minimal. To where
Very
now,
low discussion, yeah.
for now, it's like we were this last weekend. Somebody showed a coach that I know showed like a protocol of one of the guys that he took from someone else, and I'm telling you that the shit they were putting in their body was astronomically. It was 10 times what I'd ever seen from anybody. And I think too many people now don't just stick back to what, if you're not training like a maniac, and a lot of people don't want to because they're afraid to get hurt. If you're not training like a maniac, and if you're not getting proper rest and you're not getting the food, all that other stuff doesn't really matter. Now, if you're doing those things, you don't need that much of the other stuff. And that's why a lot of you guys are healthy and are in a better position than a lot of the younger guys who these coaches just jam everything in the book down their throat. And it's just from lack of knowledge.
But do you feel like guys, they work like robots and they don't, because I always learn stuff. Like I always kind of did my own thing, and I would even say to my so-so trainer or coach, like, this is what I want to do. And he'd just be like, okay, we would kind of do a collaboration if that made sense. Because listen, no one knows your body better than you do.
Of course, you live in it.
Yeah. And I've done these shows where I've done 2 hours of cardio. I've done no cardio. I've done, it's like calf training. If I've done every other day, every day, like now I train it once a week. That's what I was doing towards the end of my career with great success. So it's like you kind of have to do a lot of trial and error to get where you are.
But it's incumbent on the athlete to tell the coach how they're feeling and have an open relationship and an open conversation, because a lot of times they'll hold something back and then they might cheat their diet a little bit because they think they need something more. Like I'll give you an example. Regan, is using Stefan Kinzel to do his diet for this, he moved over to him, and his nutrition theory compared to some of the other coaches he's used in the past is a lot different. And I've asked a couple of the other athletes that are using him, and he is more nutrition focused and the training focused than the other stuff. And that, to me, you can tell they're going in a right direction, because Regan's food is completely changed. But if you've seen the recent pictures of him, he's over 300 pounds and he's losing body fat and his weight's going up. And his diet is dramatically different. And it's almost in a direction that you would never think a pro bodybuilder would be in, like the less food.
I saw he called out Nick Walker.
Yeah. Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was something. Yeah,
he's going to have to go qualify in California.
Hey, listen. We all know
you
this.
kind of love that. It's kind of funny. I was thinking this, and I wanted to bring this up to you. I didn't know if you had saw that clip.
Yeah.
These days, people get so bent about, like, Regan went on there and said, Nick's going to have to, I guess they were kind of laughing on the Fuad podcast and said, well, he's going to have to go to California to qualify because he's not winning New York, right?
Okay.
And I'm sure there was some, people would be like, man, that's cocky or whatever else. How about when Ronnie, backstage in live pay-per-view TV of me standing there with Triple H, millions of people watching, said, Jay Cutler's smoking crack.
What do you say about that?
I say Jay Cutler's smoking crack. He ain't in his right mind.
And they think that is the funniest,
of course,
blurb ever, right? And I didn't take it personal. My family,
they probably laughed.
But could it be any worse than that?
No,
Meanwhile,
crackhead.
So I'm sure people are like, man, that was or I don't know how Nick feels about it. Nick's so confident anyway.
Yeah, no.
But that to me is way to left field, comparable to someone saying, oh, he's going to have to go to another show and qualify. Ron, I guess who it's coming from, I guess, too, right?
Listen, you can tell when those two are kind of doing their little back and forths. They're just going back and forth, going in a show, which everybody should do. People take stuff so personal. Look, going into that show, can Regan beat Nick? Yes. Can Nick beat Regan? Yes. We will find out when it happens.
Martin's. I mean, we don't know where he's going to.
Yeah,
end
I mean,
up.
Martin.
And there's a lot of other guys.
Martin
too.
and Nick are doing Pittsburgh the week before, so we'll see. Who knows? Maybe Martin will be like, "Hey, I'm jumping in here." Now you have a 3-way battle, but that doesn't mean that somebody else can't come in that show. I don't know who else is signed up for it.
I mean, dude, we can talk this till the end of days. Who's better? Who's not?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I don't know who else is signed up, but I'm sure it's not just going to be a 2-man show. There's everyone that's up there has earned the right to be there, and they're a threat. But look, Nick and Regan have completely different physiques, and it's going to come down to if they both nail it. We'll see what the judges say.
It's just crazy that Nick hasn't competed for a while, and I feel like people give him a lot of disrespect lately.
Yes, they do.
Because it's kind of like that thing, what have you done for me lately? And people like are actually like questioning, like, oh, is Nick gonna compete, or like it must be really I don't know. That would kind of bother me a little bit, I think.
Look, he's treated unfairly, and I think he is because he came into the industry with a lot of confidence, guns blazing. But you know what? Everything he said he was going to do, he did.
Backed it up.
He did. So
and lately, has he not backed it up? Is the question.
It's not, to me. It's not that he not backed it up because
he just hasn't had the opportunity.
He hasn't had the opportunity to. And I've said this 2 years ago. He could have won the Olympia. He very well could have won. And I think the reason they give him the flack is because he went into the New York and he was not at his best. He still won, but Martin pushed him. But you have to look. 4 months later, Martin got 4th in the world. It's not like he was getting pushed by some guy.
I think if Martin didn't go and get 4th after, like, very questionably,
then you could
beating him. I think that's what's causing most of this chaos of his questionable career choice.
No matter what show Nick goes into, I don't care who's on the stage, he is a threat to win. You don't win the Arnold Classic if you're not one of the best bodybuilders in the world. And his last couple times on the Olympia stage or even the Arnold, he's either won or got second, or he's been in that first call at the Olympia. So you know what? Any show he goes into, he's a threat. And if people don't think he's a threat, well, then they're either just delusional or just complete
So
hater.
Regan must have a lot of confidence that when he's talking like he's not going to qualify.
The reason I think he's so confident is every year going into the shows, there was always something he was dealing with. He had such a hard time digesting food, and it was a problem.
Yeah.
Like the biggest he ever was when he started a diet was 285 and not in the best shape. Well, now he started this diet over 300 pounds and he's still over 300 and you're already starting to see the abs come in and he's still over 300 pounds and everything's firing on all cylinders. And in the past, the problem was as he dieted down, the muscle came off with it. So we'll see if the muscle sticks, and time will tell. I know he's confident. I know Nick's confident. I love that we'll just be able to sit there because you're going to be at the show and we're just going to be able to see it and see how it unfolds, and the best man will win. Because I know, it's Steve's show and the best man will win.
Yeah.
Period. So speaking of New York, you're going there this weekend.
I head out for our annual workshop, which I talk about a million times. It started as a Jay Cutler meet and greet. This is inside Steve's gym, which right now is having a remodel.
Okay.
So he just added a whole new section to the gym. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's already crazy.
I mean, he's just focused on making this like
the best gym in America.
I think him traveling to overseas and
Of
seeing
course.
Rodder's gyms and all these and realizing like it's got to be kind of an ego thing a little bit when people talk about your gym as like the iconic landmark, right? When we talk about gyms, we talk about, it's literally called the East Coast Mecca. It's called many things, Powerhouse Gym, Bev's Gym, whatever. But Steve he literally called me 2 days ago and he's like, I'm going to walk through the gym with me and you're going to tell me what I'm missing. He does this every time.
You know what? I want to say this, like every time I've gone, if every gym owner in America had Steve's passion for it, we would have, the gyms would be across the country be amazing.
He camps himself in that gym, man.
He does. I remember you and I went and trained the one time. We got done training. This was like 2 years ago. And Steve comes over and he's like, hey, man, is there anything I can do to make this place better? Like, what did you think of this equipment? What did you think of this? It wasn't like he was serious. He wanted to know, how can I make my gym better? It's already one of the best gyms in the world.
Pacific West Injury Law. Injured? Call 602-HURT. Car accident? Call 602-HURT. Our firm is dedicated to you and your recovery.
World. But I'm sure he goes and sees some of these gyms overseas and goes, I could do that.
Well,
in
he's
America.
been a lot of new equipment, specialized. He does have a lot of old school in there, and obviously, he's, Panada's been good with him. New Tech's been good to him. I know some people, like, they get away from some of this newer equipment,
Yeah.
but listen, hardcore people are still going to like some of the old school stuff, whether it's Hammer or Flex or
He's got everything.
Body Master, that kind of stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. So this is going to be our workshop. It's a free event. It's held 1 to 4 on Saturday, February 1st. So if you guys are in Syosset, New York, this will be launched by then, right? Yes. Come check us out, man. It's we'll have a few of the, me, myself, Frank Seppi. I think Guy's going to show up. Sadiq's there. I think Juan, I know, will be there.
Derek Lunsford's on the thing.
Yeah, Derek. Yeah, Derek's going to come out. We have a bunch of the females that are going to come out and speak. We all speak, and then we kind of do, answer questions or whatnot. It's 1 to 4. It's a free event. You guys can come out, grab a pass to work out for the day. You do have to pay for the pass to train if you do want to train, but the workshop is absolutely free. So you can come out. We have that little area where we sit and, just kind of tell our stories a little bit, answer the questions, and it's always a packed house, man.
How many years is this now?
2009, 10.
Is it?
I think it started. I think
When
when
we
we did
15,
it.
16?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Wow, that's great. So one of the other things that in the last week has happened, and it's something that you've been working on for a long time, you launched a TRT clinic.
TRTkingdom.com is
So-
live.
So
We've been talking about this for a long time.
for like
Took
years.
a lot of back-end development
So
on this.
if you can, just explain why you chose to not go just work with somebody and why you said, you know what?
I had a
want
lot
mine.
of requests. As you know, there's been a lot of, I say TRT Kingdom. I mean, we do all sorts. We do everything peptides and erectile dysfunction, all sorts of just
Weight loss,
yeah, everything.
health, vitamins.
Yeah. So as you know, as I gotten older, I'm a lot more health conscious. Okay, and I know testosterone replacement therapy has become a big topic. I mean, you hear people talk about it all the time. And I've been approached by so many different companies for endorsement side saying, hey, we would like you to come on board, whether it's like we'll do your labs and, to monitor your testosterone and everything else, which, me being 51, it's always something that I like have on my plate, right? I want to always monitor everything, but, I wasn't comfortable because once again, I look at the cost and we talk about this a lot. I think people avoid doing blood work, and I think people avoid having supervision in this sense because of the cost. And I wanted to be competitive, so I established a great relationship, obviously with a pharmacy, and I started, in the whole back end of launching my own. I said, I want to own one so I have control, and I want to be able to give the service to people, especially, my demographic is that level. So, and, I have such good rapport with the people. I'm communicating with everyone, and, we still travel all the time. And listen, this is a U.S.-based only clinic, right? But I'm registered in all the states. Obviously, there's some restrictions in certain states for certain medications. But the ideal thing is for me to help people with a lot of these people going to the gym. They can beat their head against the wall, and if their hormones or their something is off on their blood markers or everything else, you're not going to be able to progress. And I know, like, weight losses, I can tell you that 1 million people come to me now, and they're always battling weight loss now more than building muscle.
Yep.
It seems like everyone has now transpired, whether they had children, went through, the kids are grown, they moved out, people are trying to be in better health. As you get into your 50s, 60s, like, we talk about this all the time, when I was in my early 20s, man, I was just like, okay, I just want to be a professional bodybuilder and continue to go. But, you have to pay attention to your health. We've lost a lot of friends or end up with friends with a lot of health issues because of lack of blood work, lack of taking care of themselves. And listen, depression can be a major thing with hormone change.
Of course.
And I think that's where this is really important for me. So now we went live. Today's Thursday. Monday. So we went live Monday, taking applications, lining up consults. We've gotten a lot of great feedback so far. So I know there's a link on the bottom of this podcast. If you guys are interested, make sure you guys check it out. But TRT Kingdom is now live, and I'm excited. I mean, it's a pretty cool, unique opportunity for me. It all goes hands. I mean, listen, I'm in the supplement business. I mean, of course, I do clothing and I promote events, and I have a lot of face-to-face contact and a lot of communication through emails or even text messages. One thing with me, and a lot of you guys can attest to this because so many people stay in touch with me through either text or email, social media. Like I work that pretty much consistently on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, we did this podcast. Yeah, X, yeah. We did a lot. This was the whole idea of this podcast, was to communicate and kind of give our feelings towards and let people know what goes on in our head. So I'm excited. I mean, like I said, you're kind of helping me a little bit in the background. We have a lot of our friends helping, and it's a big journey for me. My mom was like, my mom doesn't know what TRT is,
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, what is this? She saw it on Facebook. And I tried to explain it to her, but it's a little overhead.
Over the years, different people that I would know would either not get on a TRT program, or they would just try to get it from someone in the gym, which is not safe.
It's not safe, yeah.
And every time I would talk to one of these companies, and I've spoken to every one of them at one point or another, not everyone, most of them, I kind of knew what certain things cost, because when I was growing up, my uncle owned a hospital and he owned his own lab. And I knew kind of about how much certain things cost, because I would see the billing when he'd send it to me, like what the cost was, like when I would get blood work done. And I knew how much different things cost, different medications that were needed. So when I would talk to a company, I would say, well, we need this much for blood work. And I'd say, well, I already have blood work done. No, we can't use yours. We have to use ours. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's from the same clinic. It's from the same Quest Diagnostics or LabCorp. It's
we usually like 6 weeks, within a range of 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
I mean, of labs.
So they would not take this, or they would say, I need X amount of dollars for it. And I'm like, what the, like that's 10 times more than it costs. Yeah. Or they would say, we're going to supply this and this medication. And I knew how much they would cost. And I'd be like, man, like, how can anyone afford this? But you coming out with the TRT Kingdom, obviously everybody wants to make money, but you can do well with the brand and not just completely destroy people's pocketbooks. And you can give them the good care that they need, the medications they need from a licensed pharmacy, like no different than if you went to Walgreens and got it. And you can actually help change people's lives and not take advantage of them. So it like makes me feel good. Like I can send someone over here and know, hey man, this isn't like a major life decision.
Yeah.
And you're not robbing people.
We're very competitive. I mean,
yes,
very,
with
very
the best
yes.
ones in the country.
And the service, I mean, that's what we're going for, top quality service. That was the main thing, that was another reason I didn't want to sign with just anything, because listen, anyone can take a check or refer someone, but what customer service are they going to get? That's always my first. I mean, like Drew handles my customer service for the supplements, and I talk to him every day about what are people saying, and he knows how to relate to people. He knows exactly how I'm going to be responding. Okay, if something's messed up, send them a free product or whatever.
Take care
else.
of people.
Yes. So that's where I was very conscious of that. But it also has to be competitive, but more importantly, the patient has to feel comfortable, right? And not just like a number.
Yeah.
Right? That's always been my case. When people come up to see me at events, just like Fit Expo, I try to spend time with everyone because it's very important. It's life-changing for some people. So for me, anyone that's met me, I mean, how I am. I'm reactive. I mean, my reputation stands true to what it is. So like we're live, man, and like you can schedule. It's free to get on the phone and just learn a little bit about it. And obviously, if it's something you're interested in, I mean, you can get your blood work done and get on board, man. It's very
and
simple.
it's not even just. And a lot of times people think TRT, they just think men. It's not just for men.
No.
Women have different protocols
Yes,
that
of
can
course.
help them because, if a woman's hormones are off, they can make them feel a certain way. Or your hormones, maybe your hormones are in check, but you just want to have, you just want to get a peptide to heal something. Or you want to lose some weight. There's different things you can take. So it's not just a male only testosterone thing. It's for grown men, grown women for wellness across the board. So we can, obviously you're not feeling good, so we're not going to do a super long podcast, but we'll just answer a couple questions that came in. Will you be at the Arnold Classic?
Yeah, Arnold Classic. We're there. Young LA has a giant booth. You remember the booth they had?
It's ridiculous.
So this may be the biggest. You guys have to come just to check out the Young LA booth. So I'll be there for that. And, of course, we have our meet and greet set up for myself, Ronnie Coleman, Bumstead,
Sam Sulik.
So these are paid meet and greets, meaning you guys get a high-quality picture,
8x10.
immediate right there on the spot. And then you don't have to wait in the crazy lines, which can be pretty lengthy.
So sometimes when an athlete goes to an expo and there's hundreds of thousands of people, and if you're only scheduled for 2 hours, there's only so many people you can see. You can't see thousands of people. Some people just want to be able to get a picture with you. They want to be able to shake your hand. This is an opportunity. You're guaranteed this, and you're not going to stand in line for.
What's cool with this is Ronnie and I together too.
Of course.
So we do like a kind of a 3-person, 4-person with or however how many people are in your group, but Ronnie on one side, me on the other, legendary battle, right? And it's good to always do that.
How does it make you feel like that first battle started in 2001? So
started
here
in
we are,
2000 actually.
Where it was like where you were like, oh wow, we're right here.
Yeah, man.
25 years later.
I think it's bananas. Like sometimes I look back at my career and only when you mention it do I feel that, like, I can't believe that was me living that life. It's so crazy, because like I always talk about coming from Sterling, Massachusetts, like my biggest fear was like, am I going to get out of here? And it wasn't that it was such a bad life. I just wanted to be great at something. And I knew that being great in a community of 6,000 people versus 6 million people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. And now, like, even like social media, when I look at my following sometimes, like when I look at my Facebook account or Instagram or Snapchat, and it's like, when you go to bed, you take your shoes and your socks off and you shower or whatever, and you lay down your head every night. And it's like, dude, I'm just like every other average person, right? There's a lot of thoughts in my head. There's fear. There's anxiety.
Happy, sad, everything.
Yeah, like there's relationships. I just like I said, I just been down for 24 hours, like sick, and I think I'm Superman. But in the end, and then I post up on social media last night, like Angie was doing some vape, like a rub, like a vape.
Yeah,
what do you call that?
Yeah.
Vicks vape rub or whatever. Yeah. And I had so many people hit me up this morning, all my friends texting me and fans like, hey, I hope you're feeling better. Like just from that. And it's like, man, like you don't realize how many people you touch and kind of relate to your lifestyle only just because I'm me, and I think that's like, I talked to one guy the other night and he's like, I followed you for a long time. He's like, you were like the guy that inspired me all through law school and whatever else. And I'm like, man, it just floors me that you're a professional dude. And like, I was just like a guy that liked to lift weights and, I had a structure in my life, but he's like, well, I love that you were into business. Yeah. Cause I knew it wouldn't last forever. I mean, I basically chased a lot of dreams because of fears of not being good enough or not being stable. And, knowing that people rely on you and not being able to fulfill those wishes of others. So that's where, it makes a huge difference. And, I just appreciate everyone. So it's crazy.
Next question. I'm 42 years old and have not worked out in a decade. Can I lose weight at this age?
It's crazy how many people think they're too old to actually get on a program, man. I run into these people.
Proof.
Yeah. I run into these people at 50, 60, 70 at my shows that are competing for the first time. And I said, how long have you been training? Like 2 years, 1 year. I'm like, man, what's the life change? I always curious to know, like, what made you decide? And they're like, hey, man, I just looked in the mirror one day, or there was a life-changing moment that they wanted to, that made a big shift in that sense. So I think there, it can never, there's no limitations on what you can do. It really comes down to, like I said, getting on the right program, finding time that, it becomes a lifestyle. You have to hit the gym. You have to, eat well, get those sleep patterns in check. And like I tell everyone, get your blood work done, get your markers right, get your hormones checked, and, see where your body's at. Otherwise, I mean, as we get older, it does become a little more challenging, because I think we fall into general life and we have a routine. And you know how people say, well, I'm 50, I'm never going to change. I've been doing the same thing for 50 years. Don't think like that. Think outside the box a little bit and just try to make the life change.
On a random different funny tip. So the rapper Little John has been a friend of mine for 20 years. I used to work with him years ago, and he made a change at 53. He's 54 now. And he went from drinking and partying for like the last 30 years straight. And now he's at the gym every day. He's eating healthy. He's taking supplements. He's messaged me. He said, bro, I put 4 pounds on this bulk. I'm like, wow, I'm hearing him talk about bulking at 54. So anyone can do it at any age. And I mean, even me, I'm still a fat fuck.
Well, you're trying.
Yeah, here and there. How can I become an affiliate for the TRT Kingdom? I've actually had a lot of people ask, like a ton of people.
Yeah, we'll be onboarding people pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to, like any business comes out, you launch it. Obviously, it's in all 50 states, and there's a lot of moving parts. And you want to make sure when you start bringing people in to do affiliate work that everything is set up right, because things can go wrong in any new business. New software, do this, do that. So
but you can email on the site.
Just message on the bottom, and we will, I'm assuming once we're ready to do some
maybe
like
sooner
affiliates.
than later, but this is the first week, so it's been really crazy because we had so much interest, and we just want to make sure everyone gets serviced properly. But just be patient, and I'm sure we'll get something together here in the next.
When the time comes, we can announce it and have maybe somewhere where people can fill it out on the site.
Yeah. So you guys make sure you check it out. Check out the website. And, just drop us a line or whatever else. You guys can comment below on this podcast, too.
And then
tell us maybe some experience or whatnot.
We'll another thing I want to do is bring some different people on, and professionals in the industry that can just talk about how important it is to have your health, in check. That's something we can do, too. But I don't want to keep this too long, because I know you're not feeling good. So we're going to cut it a little shorter than normal. But we wanted to make sure to get something in here before you head to New York.
Yeah.
And then till next time.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.